Hello, lovely people.
Do it right.
We're good.
Yay!
Well done. Okay. Today I'm joined by the lovely Chloe, who runs the channel DissociaDID.
Yes.
Thank you. I did it right that
Good
time.
job.
We're going to be following on from the video that I made talking about what ME is, because we both have experiences of ME, chronic fatigue, and the whole
shebang.
system of that. And also just to sort of highlight that people have such incredibly different experiences with what is essentially classed under the same illness. But that's not actually what your channel's about.
No, it's not.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your channel?
The reason my channel is called DissociaDID is because it's about dissociative identity disorder, which used to be known as multiple personality disorder. Most of you will probably know it as split personality or multiple personality disorder, as that is the disorder we have. So we educate people about what it means, what the stigmas are behind it, what it's actually like to live with, and the biology and psychology of how that works within a human brain.
Chloe's channel is very fascinating, and I suggest you go over there immediately after watching this video, because we will also be making a video that will go on her channel, and it will be the top link down there. First of all, do you want to tell me a little bit about ME, how you came by it?
How I came by it.
Like you picked it up one day whilst shopping.
Oh yes. I was like, that looks great and I want it, so I'm taking it home with me.
That's exactly what happened to all of us.
Oh yeah, I regret my purchase and I'd like my money back, please. I thought that ME and chronic fatigue were the same thing. They're not, they're different. But I knew it as sort of an interchangeable diagnosis. My chronic fatigue is very unpredictable. And like we were saying before, the reason that we're making this video is to show how very varied our experiences are. And I do want to stress that just in case your disorder, if you have ME, doesn't reflect how we experience ours, that doesn't make you any less valid. I get very, very tired very, very easily, but it's more of an exhaustion than just like a sleepiness.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets to the point where I'll go catatonic, which means that I can't move. So I may be sort of frozen in a particular position for a certain amount of time, or if somebody's squeezing my hand trying to get me to respond like my partner was doing yesterday, I may not be able to respond back because it feels like all the energy is just being completely drained out of my body. Sometimes it will come out of nowhere, so I might be walking around perfectly happy, going on a walk to the shops, having a great time, listening to the birds, ready to skip away into the sunset. Then my legs will be like, no, we changed our mind.
We're done. We're done.
We don't want this. It feels like pins and needles at first, and then just like a feeling of weakness. And then I just I can't put any more weight on my legs.
Yeah. A bit like your whole body just sort of forgot.
Yes.
Forgot how to be.
Yes, exactly.
When did you first start experiencing symptoms?
I think I must have been, I might have been around 14, actually. It was sort of tied in with my depression because I experienced quite severe depression from when I was around 11 years old. Didn't know at the time I was experiencing PTSD and dissociation, which is a part of dissociative identity disorder, hence the name. Along with that came the physical symptoms of ME and chronic fatigue, chronic pain, and it just became very, very difficult to get out of bed in the morning. At the same time, I was so depressed, I thought that it was just the other symptoms of depression, which can be like exhaustion and fatigue, but they just didn't get any better.
And of course, it's so common for doctors as well to link the symptoms of ME and chronic fatigue and be like, it's just depression.
Yeah.
First of all, just depression? When is anything just depression?
Yes.
But the whole idea is that like, oh, just work on your mental health and your physical health will just shoot right up.
Yes. Oh, you have depression? Just exercise. And it's like, well, I have chronic fatigue. Oh yes, that's because you've got depression. So just work on your mental health. And it's like,
I got diagnosed with ME when I was 17, and I've been taken to hospital because I'd had a very bad health kind of crisis, I suppose, in that I paralyzed both of my arms for a year and a half.
Oh my gosh.
I know. During an exam. Because it was linked to an exam, people were immediately like, oh, it was stress.
Yes.
But actually it's because I have a nerve condition where I can paralyze my nerves if I put too much pressure on them, as in literal pressure.
Yeah.
And I've been leant on my elbow whilst I was writing in this exam, and I got a crick in my neck and thus paralysed my arms.
Ouch, gosh.
And then got rushed to hospital. They did a whole barrage of tests on me, one of which was a lumbar puncture.
I don't know what that is.
It's where they take fluid from your spinal sac. So basically there's a sac surrounding your spine which is full of fluid. So they took fluid from this little like special sack. But also is the sack that keeps your whole brain like...
Stop saying sack.
Sorry. They let a medical student do it.
Oh,
and
no.
he kind of stabbed me 3 times.
Oh.
It's supposed to be when you take the needle out that it just closes up, but I guess he'd stabbed me too much.
Oh, God.
Into my body as well. And I got sent home about an hour after the procedure. And my father essentially had to like drag me out of the hospital to our car because I couldn't stand up straight anymore. And as he was driving home, we were about halfway home, and I just projectile vomited.
No!
Across the windscreen.
No.
And my dad, being my dad, who'd been told by my mother to drop me back at home.
Forward, onwards, everything's
me all
fine.
weekend at home,
Oh my
where I was
God.
like, I can't move.
And
Then took me back to the hospital on Monday.
I can't believe that they let you leave like that.
Yeah, and then by the time I was back in the hospital, they were like, well, this is a bit late.
You're the one who discharged me. Oh, God.
Is there anything about this? Like, you're just full of cerebral fluid. Like, yes. And then I had to spend 2 years lying down flat in a dark room with like no light, no sound, even touch was excruciatingly painful. And so during that time, they diagnosed me with ME. Well, I don't know. I didn't have a moment in my past where I'd become incredibly ill, but I didn't feel like I'd ever been healthy. Growing up, I was always tired. I was always getting injured. I was always ill.
Yeah.
I had the symptoms of ME or chronic fatigue syndrome. I don't remember ever having that freedom of being able to run and knowing it wouldn't impact me.
Me too, actually. Now that you're mentioning this, I'm just starting to look back and thinking I was always the slowest one. I was always the one who would accidentally, I always seemed to have sprained ankles.
Yeah.
I couldn't move around particularly freely, and I would try not to run and stuff like that because it was just exhausting.
Yeah, I was always like the lazy one. Bonding. So they were kind of telling me that this had happened, and they chose 8 as an arbitrary number.
Okay.
I remember this quite clearly. I don't remember a lot, but I remember this. There's a specialist ME unit in Bristol, and they took me to the specialist ME unit. And the lady was like, okay, so when was catalyst that you suddenly became ill? And I was like, day 0. Is there an answer on your list? And she's like, I'm going to put 8.
8.
I have 2 genetic conditions that are obviously genetic and I've had since birth. Chronic fatigue being a symptom of them, it make sense that I've not always had a lot of energy or been incredibly healthy. And I've still not been undiagnosed with ME.
Yeah.
But I don't connect with it as a diagnosis because I'm like, I think I have chronic fatigue syndrome. So my doctors now say I have chronic fatigue syndrome, but they don't say I haven't got
ME. Yeah. I've experienced doctors using it interchangeably like I have as well.
British doctors do that.
Yeah, that's a little bit...
It's not helpful.
No, it's not. I actually found out from watching your videos that they're different things.
Some of the sort of literature around ME and chronic fatigue syndrome, I did find some of it really helpful. Things like when they give you the coloured charts.
Yeah.
Did you have this? And you have to fill out the activity level of the things that you are going to do throughout the week. And then it gives you a really good idea of what you're doing. And I like that was really helpful. I learned stuff.
It's important that I find to plan out when you're doing something that even if other people might not consider it to be high energy or high stress, your body's limits are going to be lower than those of other people. And if you are doing a big day out for your body, not necessarily for what someone else would consider a big day out, it's important to have that time afterwards, maybe a day, maybe 2 days, where you can just recover, because you are going to need to recover. Do you find yourself forgetting sometimes that you can't just do things that other people would do?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like sometimes the media lies to me. Like I watch films or television or I read a book where someone does something and I'm like, of course, this is doable. And then I'm like, oh no,
not for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Conversely, is not everyone else's state of energy. So I'll see someone and like my sister-in-law, she goes for runs for fun.
Who does
for fun? And she'll be like, oh, just did a 5K, bit tired. And I'm like, wow. Do other people do that?
I don't do that.
Is it just me?
I'd like to be able to make dinner occasionally without being stressed about it. Sometimes I get halfway through.
I'm so sorry, by the way, that
it's nice. I like it's kind of grounding, actually.
Oh, in that
to
case,
touch the tool, give me all
enjoy.
Thank you. Yeah, sometimes I'll get halfway through like cooking or, you know, doing a chore or something, and I'll be like, bam, done. Just like no energy completely.
Yep.
We'll have to sleep right there and then. Like sometimes I literally will just have to sleep on the floor, like wherever I've just sort of landed. Very frustrating.
One of the biggest game changers in my life has been getting a wife who can drive, because I can be somewhere and I'm like, okay, I have 20 minutes before I pass out. And if she's there, I can be like, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
And she goes, okay, walk back to the car, takes 3 minutes, put me in the car, fast track home because we've got the car, get me out the car, on the sofa.
You can't just lay in the street.
You know what my favourite place is to pass out?
Where?
John Lewis.
John Lewis.
They're so kind.
That's so sweet. That's so
Some
sweet.
tips.
I usually get a lot of, do I need to call the paramedics? Or
Yes.
has this happened
It's
before?
very difficult to convince people to not call an ambulance. for you.
Yes. It's not going to help. It's really not going to help.
I hate A&E so much.
Me too.
Because it's one of my biggest energy drains.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about chronic fatigue in ME is that obviously it affects everyone so differently that we all have very personal things that will drain us. So for one person, it may be doing a lot of mental activity would be more draining than walking from place to place. And then for someone else, you're like, as long as I don't move, I can spend
okay.
hours thinking of something and doing classwork.
Yeah.
A&E is my
Your highest stress.
nemesis. It's my drain. Because I can't access food when you're at A&E and you can't access drinks. I drink a lot. I drink about 8 litres of water. Liquid a day.
That's good though. People should drink more water
It's
than we
great
do.
for my skin. It's like I dislocated my jaw the other day. And I just
Casual.
It was the day before we were moving as well.
Oh no.
So great.
Ugh.
So I was just sat at the table having dislocated my jaw on some egg fried rice, and Claudia's like, "Should we go to A&E? Do you think? Do you?" And I was like, "No,
Please no.
I don't have the energy for A&E. You're gonna have to fix it." Obviously, I didn't say this to her because I couldn't say anything. She was like, "Should go to A&E?" I was like, "Oh." So yeah, to go to A&E, I just knew would have wiped me out, and then wiped me out for probably the next 2 days. So it was just like, "You're gonna have to fix this."
Go ahead.
She did.
What did she have
Very
to do?
impressively.
Like, click it into place?
What they actually do in A&E, we found out through texting of my sister-in-law who's a doctor,
Ooh.
is called the syringe.
Okay.
So they get a syringe and they put it between your teeth and then roll it.
Okay.
And something about the way that they roll it means your jaw like goes forwards and back to where it's supposed to be. So yeah, so avoiding things that wipe you out is always a good idea.
Identify your triggers. The earlier you can do that, the better it will be for you. The earlier that you can pinpoint what specifically affects you, or the most about you and your whatever condition you have. This works for anything, whether it's mental or physical. Write notes if you're not sure. Like, if you suddenly start feeling very fatigued or very, very depressed or very dissociated, in the case of somebody who has a dissociative disorder like I do, write it down. Say, what was I doing just before this? What time is it? Sometimes you might be able to find links between what time you're taking your medicine or how much water you've had in a day, what you've been doing recently. It can be so different for everybody, and it might not be what you're
Ask the
thinking.
people around you to check as well, because often you're going to get quite fatigued and not know what's going on, and you might not be able to remember what you were even doing before you got so tired, but someone next to you would be like, yeah, you were just chatting and then this thing happened and you were gone.
Yeah.
Something I think is very important. Don't feel bad about cutting stuff out of your life,
No.
even if that's a person.
Self-care always has to come first. At the end of the day, you're the person who's living your life. Yes, you can choose who's in it and who's not, but if they're not supportive or they're making you feel worse, it doesn't matter what's going on in their life. You're not responsible for anyone else's healing except your own. And it's very important that you take responsibility for your own healing. You're not a bad person by taking care of yourself.
My favourite thing about self-care is the idea that you can't help someone else put their oxygen mask on until you put your own on.
That's a good one. Yes.
We're absolutely
We're
fine.
good.
We're full of energy
We're
right now.
great.
Yeah.
Let's go for that 5K run. Thank you so much again for making this video with me.
Thank you for having me.
And I suggest you all go and follow lovely, lovely Claire. She's a delight.
Oh, thank you. You're a delight.
And you can go and click the top link in the description to watch the other video that we have made together, which is all about life with a chronic invisible illness.
Yes.
It's going to be fun, so please do come over for some more banter.
And we'll see you there. Bye-bye.
Bye.